Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unit 2 of your World History class. This unit is called The World in Transition. So, this unit is going to essentially be talking about how we got from Roman, the Roman Empire into what is called the Middle Ages or the Medieval Age. Okay. That's also sometimes referred to as the Dark Ages, but you'll see kind of throughout this unit why the Dark Ages doesn't really fit for the most part. So most historians call it the Medieval Age or the Middle Ages. But I'm just going to go through very quickly and just kind of introduce some things that you're going to learn about. So first of all, like I said, this really starts with the end of the Roman Empire. Now, at the time, Rome took up pretty much the entirety of the known world, right? I have a map here. This is a different map, but Rome basically took up all around the Mediterranean Sea, okay? Now, obviously, there are people living in other parts of the world at the time, but Rome had a lot of power, a lot of control, and they kind of spread their culture all throughout this land. But the problem with being such a large empire was communication, right? They couldn't text each other, they couldn't call each other, they couldn't send a video like this to each other. They had no means of instant communication. So in order to, send orders from all the way down in Rome, Italy, all the way up to say Great Britain, it took a very, very, very long time for that communication to get places. And so eventually the empire just kind of fell apart. Um, there's a whole bunch that goes into Rome falling apart, but eventually the empire collapses and we get into the medieval age. Now, around the same time is when we also see the spread of different religions. When Rome was still big and important and a huge empire, had started to spread Christianity throughout Europe, right? That was in about the 300s AD. And around 6 to 700 AD, we start to see the spread of Islam. And Islam comes from the Middle East, it comes from Saudi Arabia, and it also spreads throughout pretty much everywhere where the Roman Empire used to be. So here's a map. It goes further than the Roman Empire. It goes into more of the Middle East, like Afghanistan, and even into India. It's got the entire Arabian Peninsula. It spreads throughout northern Africa and all the way into Iberia, which is now Spain. So Spain was actually a Muslim kingdom for a very, very, very long time. So it spreads very quickly. We can see these purples are the non-Islamic kingdoms, and that's basically what was left of the Roman Empire, turned into what was called the Byzantine Empire. Okay. And then we've got all of Europe over here kind of doing its own thing. But Islam spreads very, very quickly, and part of their kind of belief system is a pursuit of knowledge. So even though in Europe things are kind of falling apart a little bit, and that's how we get to the idea of the Dark Ages, in the Islamic empires, there's actually a lot of like scientific revolutions going on. There's a lot of writing going on. There's a lot of exploration going on, and you'll learn about all of that in this unit. You'll also learn a bit about the Crusades. So that is when Christianity and Islam kind of collided and started to fight each other. So you'll learn a little bit about the history of that. The Crusades become very, very important for um, getting new knowledge and ideas back to Europe, where things have kind of stagnated. And then eventually you'll learn about the Mongols and Genghis Khan and how the Mongols kind of sort of ended this period of transition. Um, the Mongols helped bring about the Black Death. The Mongols helped bring about the fall of some of these Islamic empires. And so things kind of got a little bit crazy with the Mongols. And that's kind of where you'll end for this unit, right? Um, Again, it's the world in transition at this point. So we are going to be going from, these ancient civilizations like Greece and Rome into what will eventually become the modern age. But there's this period of about 1500 years where things are very stagnant. In Europe, there's not a whole lot of discovery going on, there's not a whole lot of science going on. But throughout the rest of the world, there's actually quite a lot happening. So you'll learn a lot about what's happening in the rest of the world as well. So, very brief introduction to what this unit is going to be. If you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to me. But otherwise, have fun. Thanks, guys.